Guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go on an email that was sent from a subscriber. This is my guy, he's 43 years old, and he's writing in looking for help from both me as well as the community here about a situation he has. Long story short, this guy grew up raised by his single MOM mother, obviously, and had been abandoned by his father when he was like 3 or 4 years old. His mother that afterwards proceeded to hate all guys, including him growing up. It made him feel like worthless, like scum, that type of thing. And this guy had, sadly, a lot of bad programming, which caused him to be taken advantage by women his whole life. And now he's in a situation now that years later, his daughters abandoned him. And obviously he's licking his wounds, moving on with his life. But now guess who's back, wanting him to be involved with her life, be a part of her wedding, that type of thing. And he's wondering what to do. And this may seem like not very interesting here, but this story here has some very important points about how all young men need a male role model. How it's crucial. Father, uncle, godfather, but the right male role model. A guy can show him how to be a man, how to be strong and all that. I'm not saying the guy has to be a jerk, one of these alpha male types, but just a good man, but a man that actually knows what he's freaking talking about here. And what can happen to young guys when they don't have that and be surrounded by very bitter, angry gals that see men as the problem. And this guy has some very bad programming and he's made mistakes, but we're trying to help him. And he's here asking for help. So it's very important, the point I try to make about this whole thing here, as well as just when women also see weakness, they treat guys accordingly. So this is definitely one where we need to join together to help this guy out. So if particularly you fathers out there that have dealt with problematic children, particularly daughters, I'm especially asking for your help to help this dude out. He says, "Hello SSM. I'm a longtime fan of your channel, and I do hope you continue doing what you do. Bro, I'm going to keep doing this every day until I either drop dead or YouTube kicks me off. So, fingers crossed, I stay off their radar. I only wish these lessons would have been available to me as a young man, since I grew up without a father. In any case, I hope my story doesn't get too many slaps. Also, I currently have a problem, as you will learn. I feel I'm doing the right thing, but wouldn't mind some feedback. For starters, I'm 43 years old, and as I said before, I grew up without a father. My parents divorced when I was only 3 years old, and I'm their only child together. According to people in the know, my dad was quite the ladies' man. He cheated on my mom constantly, but she never left him. Then one day, he never came back home. In 1984, they finalized their divorce. So your dad, your biological father, is a fucking scumbag. I'm sorry to hear that, man. I really am. This is why it's so important. This is why I do this channel. For many reasons why I do this channel, but why so many young guys out there don't have a father or at least a good male role model, and they need that. And they're lacking a lot of guidance. But it's not your fault he did what he did, and then now you're stuck with mom and she's pissed off at your dad. My dad agreed to pay child support and alimony, but never visited. I guess he found a better life someplace else. In fact, I have no recollection of him at all. I've only seen a few photos of him that my mom didn't burn. As far as I can tell you, he was a good-looking guy with a classic look, sort of like Tony Curtis. This poor guy. I mean, as a little kid, think about it from being a little kid, like, why would my dad leave? My dad doesn't care about me. Instantly, that sets you up for having low self-esteem, thinking you're worth shit, After the divorce, my mom became very bitter towards men and directed her anger at me. That ain't cool. That is not your fault for what happened. Probably when she saw you, she saw your dad, She's allowed to be angry about what happened. But then again, she's the one that got with him in the first place. I'm sure he was a cheater before they got married and had you. And you said she always stayed with him, which is usually how these gals roll. They stay with the bad boys, and they want to then hate on all men hate on all men, including good men, because of what this scumbag chose to do to her, and blame you. Fuck her. She never physically hurt me, but she would say very mean things. I remember when I was 6 years old, she said to me, "You make me feel ugly. You're as ugly as your father was." To a 6-year-old? She is an unfit parent. This shit screws kids up for life. As time went on, I began to feel insecure about my looks. The irony is, I did get a lot of attention from gals in middle school and all throughout high school. But the idea that I was remotely good-looking was completely foreign to me. I thought girls were just messing with me. I literally had no self-esteem. This is not your fault, man. However, how you choose to handle your adult life, that is on you. Your mom's a piece of shit. I'd have nothing to do with her. Yeah, she was hurt, but then again, we can go round for round. Yeah, he was an a-hole to her and cheated on her and all that, but we don't know the full story here. But I do think your dad's a scumbag. But then the way she treated you, no excuse. You can't have any sympathy for her for what happened to her because she also chose to be with your dad. I would go on to make many mistakes. Our neighbors, Doris, was also a single mom. She and my mom had become good friends. Doris had a daughter my age, Liz. We both attended the same school, and she was very pretty, so I didn't mind whenever they came over. Soon Liz and I began talking and then dating. So Liz isn't from just... Liz, this good-looking girl paying attention to you, is in just as a screwed-up family as yours in varying degrees. Great. That's probably how you bonded. She was my first everything. My first kiss and my first home run. That's where I went wrong, because one day Liz called me up and she said that she missed her period. I told her to go see a doctor, but she said it was more complicated than that. She thought she might be pregnant. We were both only 18 years old at that point. Oh, God. Yeah, I had that scare when I was 20 years old. My girlfriend and I, one night, got romantic on the couch at her house late at night when her parents were in bed. And I was dumb enough I didn't have condoms with me because this was spontaneous. And surprise, she was late. Longest fucking week of my life. And then thank God, her monthly friend showed up late. And I never did that again. I was so stupid. Well, she was pregnant, and I thought my mom would kill me. But instead she laughed and then screamed, "You little shit, I told you to keep it in your pants. Now you gotta man up." Well, if it is your child, of course you should. Liz and I are both Catholic, so the procedure wasn't an option. I thought she might give up the child for adoption, but she was adamant about raising the child. So I did the only thing I could do. I married her. Smack! At 18 or 19, I get the pressure from around you and all that, but that you didn't have to do that. I know some people will disagree with me. What the fuck is wrong with my voice today? Some people disagree with me, but a lot of miserable couples came from that mentality. That kid's yours, you take care of the child, of course. It wasn't anything fancy. We set a date at the county courthouse and took our vows. That was all I could afford at the time. A few months later, Liz gave birth to a baby girl. We named her Bella. She was the most beautiful thing I ever saw, and when I held her in my arms, I felt as though the whole world had disappeared. It's what I've heard from a lot of fathers. I should mention my mom never remarried. There's a fucking surprise. She dated guys from time to time, but always kept them at arm's length. During this time, I did see a change in her. My mother really took to my daughter, and for the first time, I saw another side of her. You mean Attila the mom is actually acting humane? I got a job at a company that makes yachts, where I still work today, while Liz attended a local community college. This seemed to make her happy, as she often complained about taking care of the baby all day. Eventually, she wanted to transfer to a better school, so we moved to another city about an hour away. This meant I had to drive back each morning, but I did it for my family. You're a man. You're doing what you got to do to take care of your family. And I have no fault in that. It's just that you married too young for the wrong reasons. I mean, I know you said you two were involved, and you obviously really liked her. She was your first and everything, but do you think you really would have married her that young if she didn't get pregnant? Probably not. Shortly after, Liz began hanging out with new friends. Here we go. They would go out very late, and when I asked where she was, she would say they were out studying. Sometimes it would be till 3 o'clock in the morning. Nobody studies till 3 o'clock in the morning except maybe med students or law students. And even then, I at least know law students are probably studying with alcohol. I didn't know about red flags back then. For example, I would see Liz smiling and giggling on her phone. But as soon as I walked into view, she became quiet. Our sex life was next to nothing, and each time I tried to initiate, she would say she was too tired. But my gut was telling me something was wrong. As I've been always saying, gentlemen, always trust your gut. Trust me, you could have a gal that works 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, is exhausted. But if there's a guy she really likes, believe me, in spite of working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day and exhausted, she would find time for the guy that she was hot for. Trust me. Would be more than happy to roll in the hay and do whatever he wants. You're the guy she married because she got pregnant, nothing more. She ain't getting it from you, she's getting it someplace else. One weekend, I finally met Liz's friends. They were, wait for it, 3 guys. Nope. Not happening. I don't hear you hanging out with other women. She shouldn't be hanging out with other guys. And last time I checked, guys don't hang out with pretty women just because they want their company. They're hanging out with them because they want to get a chance to nail them. Or, at the very least, they already are nailing them. The whole thing didn't sit well with me, so I confronted her. Instead of explaining, she said I was insecure and out of touch with modern times. Okay, let's just see how insecure and out of touch with modern times he is here. Fucking gaslighting him. Liz called me an uneducated loser. I didn't say anything, but took Bella and went to my mom's house. Yes, I know, my mom was terrible, but compared to my wife, she was the lesser of 2 evils. Well, isn't it interesting, guys, how he ended up married to a woman who was just as awful to him as his mother was to him growing up. It's not a fucking accident, because the female role model growing up, he was told he was shit, treated like crap, and so he's drawn to a girl that did the same thing. Now, some of you may say, well, maybe she wasn't that way when they first met. Well, she probably was. So this is why it's so important that guys work hard themselves to become the best they can be and have good male role models so that when people like this come into their lives, they kick them to the curb. They don't take them thinking that's all they can get. An uneducated loser. If you're making good money doing your trade, who the fuck cares? But of course we know they care. And she was trying to hurt you. And you can't be with someone that's obviously trying to hurt you. So Belle and I returned home, but for the next few days, Liz and I ignored each other. Oh, what a great house for your daughter to grow up in. And then now your daughter's going to be in just as a fucked up marriage or relationship as you. We weren't sharing the same bed either. I was in the nursery with Bella. Then I finally caught her in the act. I wanted to patch things up, so I got off early from work, bought some roses, and headed home. When I was nearly there, I noticed Liz walking hand in hand with another man. Oh, let me guess. One of her friends? But it must be the modern times when you just walk around with your male friends hand in hand, right? They had their backs to me, but I recognized him as one of the guys who came over. They hugged and kissed, then he got into his car and drove off. I pulled in the driveway, and Liz looked stunned to see me. It's modern times! I admit I completely lost it. I called her a fucking SLUT. I got no problem with that. Threw the roses at her and drove off. I wandered aimlessly. Unlike many stories I listen to this channel, I didn't have a best friend or father to consult. I had colleagues at work, but no one I trusted, so I found a friend in Jack Daniels. Yes, Jack Daniels has been a friend to many sad, unhappy guys, and unfortunately Jack Daniels isn't a very good friend. But in the morning, I was still in my car in the store parking lot. Checked my phone and noticed several missed calls, most of them from Liz. Some my mother-in-law and even my mom. Yeah, your fucking mom's probably like, where the hell are you? In fact, when I got home, they were all waiting. I walked in and the waterworks began immediately. Of course. My wife threw herself at my feet, crying and apologizing. Well, obviously this was a very long time ago before smartphones, or maybe right around the time smartphones came about, but too bad you couldn't record her down on the ground like a dog, crying at your feet. She claimed nothing happened. Bitch, I saw you kissing that guy. I'm not, hallucinating. That he was only a friend who had come over to console her. Console her about what? My mother-in-law, Doris, assured me it was the truth. Oh, is this coming from single mom Doris? Even my mother, not surprised, said I was overreacting. Oh, okay. Your mom, who's such a wonderful mom to you and loves you so much, and you can tell through her actions she loves you so much, really. In hindsight, I should have walked out, but I was afraid of losing my daughter, so I reluctantly gave in to them. Yes, I know, smack. Smack! Yes, but I get you were protecting your daughter, but still, you could have put up the act, meanwhile consulted an attorney to get your plan of getting your daughter. Things settled down, but not for long. Oh, really? Shocker. Early one morning, Liz woke me and said she was finally done. Finally done, huh? She was leaving for good this time, but said I could have full custody of Bella. I asked why she didn't leave when I caught her, and her excuse was she wasn't ready yet. Talk about karma. I was now just like my mother. But the difference is you're a good man. Your mother is obviously an asshole. I think your mom was an asshole long before your dad abandoned her. We divorced 7 months later. It was fast, easy, and uneventful. Belle and I moved back in with my mom. You moved back in with your mom? My friend, unless your budget was so tight, money was so tight you couldn't afford to be on your own, she's the last person you should have moved in with. You know what your mom's going to do to you and Bella growing up? By now, my mom was quite old and retired, so it made sense. I tried not to make the same mistakes as she did, but as the years progressed, Bella and I grew apart. At first, I thought maybe it was because I was a man and therefore she couldn't relate to me. No, that's not true. The parent thing was still new to me. I tried very hard to connect with her, but she was always pushing me away. In 2018, Bella graduated high school, and the first thing she did was pack her bags. Wow, this is the thanks you get, huh? I asked where she was going, and she said her mom was picking her up. I was dumbfounded. I didn't even know she had a relationship with her mother. Bella finally admitted they had been talking and secretly meeting all these years, and her mom told her the truth about me. Hold on. I don't know how long you've been divorced, but it's been a pretty long fucking time. All these years she's talking to her mom, secretly meeting with her, lying to you behind your back. And now your ex is going to tell the so-called truth about you? Apparently, in her mother's twisted version of events, that I was a control freak who prevented her from seeing Bella. Bella stated that men are evil, and I was no different. Gee, where'd she get that from, Grandma? This is why I said it was bad that you moved back in with your mother. And your freaking ex is fucking awful, too. Your daughter's a little fucking asshole. Your ex-wife's an asshole, and your mom's an asshole. All the women in your life are assholes. I can see how you found my channel. I cried my heart out and asked if I'd ever done anything to hurt her. Smack! Don't ever cry in front of a woman, your girlfriend, your wife, or even your daughter. She admitted no, but the fact that I kept women on the side meant I was a misogynist. Moments later, a car pulled up across the street, and I could see Liz's wretched face through the window as Bella cheerfully got in. And then I never saw the only person I truly loved ever again. This is a fucking tragedy, my man. Oh my God. I mean, you made your mistakes, sure, and how you were raised and everything like that, but I'm sorry for you. I tried calling and texting every day. I wouldn't have. Where'd that get you? That's just like a guy chasing after a woman who dumped him. No. Until Bella changed her phone number. It's now almost 6 years later since she left. My mom has since passed away. And I hope the devil's poking her in the ass with his devil pitchfork, whatever weapon the devil has. I can't think of the name of it. I do go on dates occasionally, but I'm not looking for anything serious. Well, I don't blame you. About a month ago, I got a text message from an unknown phone number. Who could it be? The sender said she was Bella. Apparently, she's getting married next year and wants me to call her. Fuck you! You abandoned me 6 years ago. We haven't talked then, but now you want me at the wedding to put on a show, to walk you down the aisle probably for your fiance's family? And all those years you were lying to me and say I'm basically a scumbag? Fuck you! There was also a short apology for the way she left. Short apology over text? No, she was sincere. She showed up at your doorstep with a bow in her hair and, Daddy! Not even that. I didn't respond. Good for you. You're learning. In truth, I have mixed feelings. It's taken all 6 years since she's left for me to get over it. So I don't know if I want to open that wound again. Yes, she's my child, my flesh and blood, but I feel betrayed. I love her, but something in me is indifferent, even afraid. Bro, nobody can blame you. A few days ago, I got a call from the same phone number. I let it go to voicemail, so she left a message. She asked me to be at her wedding. I still haven't responded. I don't think that I will. It hurts too much. Just hearing her voice breaks my heart. I think as long as I know she's safe somewhere, I'm okay with no contact. Am I doing the right thing? In my opinion, in my heartless son of a bitch opinion, yeah, you're doing the right thing. I have nothing to do with her. The way she's treated you, now, we can debate and argue that your mom, grandma, filled her head with shit, that her mom, your ex-wife, filled her head with shit, and I'm sure that's a contributing factor. But at the end of the day, her actions have demonstrated who she is. And she's now, I guess, 24, 25 years old, a grown-ass adult who's responsible for her actions. And all these years now, she's had nothing to do with you as an adult responsible for her actions. And now the only reason she is reaching out to you is because if she wasn't getting married and probably wanted you there to probably walk her down the aisle or, be a present in that for show, because it's all about for show with her, I don't think you'd be hearing from her. So I say no. And I'm very sorry about what you went through, man. And guys, like I said, this is an example this is why guys need a male role model, but the right male role model, okay? A lot of people would say I'm the wrong male role model, but that's their opinion. But a grandpa, an uncle, godfather, older brother, father, preferably a father. But even young guys nowadays that do have male role models, these guys are fucking clueless. And I'm sorry you grew up the way you did, and it isn't your fault. You made a lot of mistakes, but I think it would have been different if you had a male role model. But anyhow, man, you're now in your 40s. You found my channel. I can tell you've learned some things in the last few years ever since you left. And it sounds like you're living your life on your own terms. And I'm sure maybe there's a lot of things that are just so ingrained in you, programmed from early on from your wretched mother, that are hard to let go. But you got a chance of having the life that you want, and paving it in the way that you want. And frankly, I think if you go along with this, after the way she's treated you, that just tells her, you know what? I can treat him like shit, abandon him, and he'll still come back. I wouldn't do that. And I get she's your daughter and all that, and I know some people will say, SSM, you're not a father. You're not a parent, let alone a father of a girl. You know what that's like. And you're right, I don't know. But one thing I do know is myself. And I do understand women pretty darn well, whether people agree with me or not. And remember, women don't respect weakness. And so, in your daughter's eyes, and your mom's eyes, and your ex-wife's eyes, you were weak. And look how they treated you. Believe me, if you behaved towards them the way you probably would now, or with more coaching and learning, they probably would have handled things differently. A weak guy would just, in spite of how she treated you, show up and be the open arms. Yes, I'll take whatever breadcrumbs you give me. But a guy that has experience, has learned, nope, not happening. There's going to be consequences to your actions, how you treated me, young daughter. So I wouldn't respond at all. Now the odds are, first it started off as a text, and you didn't respond. Good for you. Then it was a phone call with a voice message. Again, you didn't respond. Well, you'll probably get more calls. And eventually, because she'll probably be persistent and figure eventually she'll wear you down. Next thing you know, she's probably going to show up. Or might try to get your ex involved to come badger you and guilt trip you into coming. Because remember, women's perception of guys is the guys are always the same. So probably your ex will think that, she can get you to manipulate you to go. Don't fall for it. I guarantee you she's going to try. But at the end of the day, you got to do what's best for you and what you want to do. But I think if you go along, even after you make her beg you, which you probably will at some point, they'll probably make you feel like an ass at that wedding, and then you'll be chopped liver after that. Don't fall for it. I would say continue on living the life that you have as the way you see fit. Obviously, you got a lot of work to do on yourself, but over time you will get better. Because again, your mom was a fucking evil witch. And again, I hope she's in hell with the devil shoving his stick up her ass or something. A hot stick up her ass. I'm going to get flagged for that on YouTube now. We'll see. But anyhow, that's not your fault. But you're an adult now, and you got to do everything you can to take away that bad programming and all that. And it sounds like you're moving slowly in the right direction. But I'm sorry all happened to you. But again, guys, this is a proof why guys need a good male role model. And I don't mean some stereotypical, cliche, badass alpha male role model, but a guy that actually is a good man, but speaks reality, knows what he's talking about, has your best interest at heart, that type of thing. You need that. All guys need that. So I wish you the best, sir, but I would, frankly, I wouldn't connect with her. So guys, in the comment section, let this guy know what you think. You may disagree with me completely. That's okay. Because I know there's a lot of fathers out there, and let him know what you think about how to handle the situation with her going forward. But I think I stand by what I say. She's using him. And the second he would show up at that wedding, she'd probably make him look like an ass. Probably have somebody else, other man, walk her down the aisle. And then the second it's over, whoosh, chop liver all over again. I'm waiting for it. But at the end of the day, he's got to do what he's got to do. But let him know what you think, guys. Regardless of whether you agree with me or not. Because, again, we're here to help each other out. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.